Hannah, I'd like to show you something because you were asking me, how do you teach these skills? How can you develop them? And what I've done, so let me go back to here. When I presented these competencies to my colleagues at the University of New South Wales, they looked at these 10 people skills and said they're a bit dated in the way we think about them. And so I was told these five major categories on the left are a better way of thinking about people skills. And then what we ended up doing was creating a survey tool. And the survey tool asks 5 questions in each area to evaluate what do you like with, let's get this right, with emotional intelligence. Do you do something rarely? Do you do something sometimes? Do you do something often? And so on. And we try to evaluate people for their emotional intelligence, for their communication, for their leadership, teamwork, relations, and engagement competencies. So we have got a tool which, so this is actual data of a person, and you can see that this person is quite new to everything. They come straight out of high school, and they're not very well developed in any particular area. Here's a second person, no particular skills technically, but some experience of organizations and some people skills. So you could look at somebody's profile like this and just look at this low area. Okay, their leadership skills need development. So because you can't get people skills all in one go, having a tool like this helps you to identify your weaknesses and you focus on your weakest area to develop it. James is right. You can't make a leader out of someone who's not a natural leader, but you can improve their competency to some degree. I think it is possible to identify people's weaknesses and focus their attention and focus training to overcome their weakness.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just respond to that. So, Raymond, I think when I look at these personas, I would like to see the teacher persona as well, because I've noticed that all of them are under the PM line, and it'd be good to see, what is the trait of a PM line, and therefore you can see, okay, well, here's the elements that a PM line has. And therefore, like your teacher, your people teacher. So what do they look like? And potentially they may have less technical maturity and greater people maturity because they don't need it.
Right.
And so for me, when I look at this, I think as you build your data set, it's going to be fascinating to see a move from the technical maturity, and I'm thinking there will be a reduction in that to a greater strength in the organization on the people side. And I think the model probably in my engineering mind would probably better represent that, to say, well, as an executive of an organization, you probably don't need to have high technical skill.
Right.
However, when you start up as a junior coming in as an engineer, young engineer, absolutely you should be striving for that. And so it'd be interesting to see where these tipping points are. And as you well know, Raymond, one of the biggest issue organizations have is they have somebody that's technically brilliant and then they promote them to be a manager and it all fails, including the person, because they've gone from an expert in their field to not having a clue. They haven't received any training. They're not supported. Suddenly they've got all these HR issues. They've got no understanding how to deal with. And that's not why they joined the company to start with. It was because of the technical elements. So I think, there's some great opportunity to leverage this survey to really help individuals back to that career path, to go, okay, you're now on the technical, focus on technical. Right now you're mid-career, let's focus more on the people side, or organizational if you want to become a specialist. And then there's a decision point. Do you want to become, for example, a chief engineer, or do you want to become an executive, which is more sort of general management, administrative?
Mm.